Well, hey everybody, Dr. Bulow here with around Cranberry Township in your area and regional chiropractor with Revive Upper Circle Chiropractic. And what I've been doing lately, kind of along the theme of the around Cranberry Township interviews, the hashtag ACT interviews, is I've been doing a new kind of a theme in light of the coronavirus and COVID-19 issues, which is the ACT health tips. Because right now, more than ever, we should not only be listening to the CDC and that as regards to how to safely prevent and treat coronavirus, but then at the same token, we should be looking to how do we boost our health. You know, there's two sides of every disease. There's the disease, the stressor, the thing that attacks you, whether it's the germ, a virus, an injury, genetics, things like that. And then there's the other side of the healthcare coin, which is how do I make myself as healthy as I can be? So no matter what my genetics are, no matter what the germ or virus is, no matter what the accident or injury is, I can be as healthy as I possibly can be. So the ACT health tips are about that. They're not me trying to directly treat or cure anything that's going on. It's how can we help the community be healthier? So one of the things I kind of had the epiphany in my office is we are a necessary provider. We are open. We are cleaning with these cleaning agents. And one of the things that I do after I've used a more harsh chemical cleaning compound is I'm also subsidizing and also using a diffused essential oil by the company Young Living. And I thought, you know what, we need to interview someone who knows a little bit more in-depth information about essential oils. Some of you may have heard about essential oils, some of you may have not. So I brought on a good friend and essential oil expert, Kate Martin.
Good morning.
Kate, if you would, just for a moment, you could just say hi, introduce yourself, and then we'll dive a little deeper.
All right, well, good morning, Cranberry. It's nice to be with you guys. I wish I could be with you in person, but soon enough, that will happen.
Right.
So yes.
Right.
So we are, well, my family, we are very much appreciative of having essential oils be an option for us to use. And like Ian said, these are not necessarily meant to cure you or, you know, they're more of a preventative thing. They are to support all the systems in your body. And that is what our family has done with them. We have been using essential oils and Young Living since right around when my first son was born. And it was very, very slow, but I have to give some credit to Dr. Bulow because the first time we had ever walked into a chiropractic office was when our son had an ear infection. And we had tried several rounds of medication and just didn't really get anywhere. And Ian said, hey, you might want to come and get a chiropractic adjustment on your little 11-month-old. And so we brought him in, and sure enough, it worked like a charm. And this little shift happened in our minds, and we said, oh, there is something to a more holistic approach.
Awesome.
And so from there, we just kind of, you know, very slowly, step by step, started looking into other natural ways to keep our family above the wellness line. And here we are today. You know, this looks like this nice little display, but if you were in my home, you would see it's just spread out everywhere.
Actually,
but we
I have to say, sorry to interrupt, Kate, but I have to say, if any of you, thank you, by the way, for mentioning that. It was a joy and an honor. But if any of you have ever met someone who uses essential oils, I won't go into how I did, but we call them oilers because they really love to use their oils. And what Kate said, you'll laugh at this, Kate. Everyone in the community, you'll know if you know an oiler because they always smell like an herb or a fruit or something. And they always have about a half a dozen oils in their purse or their bag or their, you know what I mean? And so they're all over the house, you know.
And we're very
that was funny. It's true. They're all over.
We've all been on the other side
where we walked
past someone and thought, what is that scent? And now we're really proud of it. When somebody says to us, is that essential oils? We're like, yeah, it is. So, yes.
Like a natural perfume.
It is. And you know what? Some of them do sort of have that 70s-ish, you know, weird scent to them, but they work.
Yeah.
But there are a ton that actually smell really, really nicely, like a perfume. And so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. So you got into oils like most people slowly. I have to say, because one of the biggest thrusts to us having this conversation is we're conscientious now more than ever about cleaning our home and trying to have a very safe, clean environment. And when I first had a patient that was an oiler, they said, everybody, for example, puts their dishes in the dishwasher, and they assume that when they pull the dishes out of the dishwasher, that all the soap residue has been fully rinsed off the glass. And I thought, that's a really interesting point. And then the other thing they said was, everybody brushes their teeth, but if you look on the back of the label on a tube of toothpaste, it says harmful if swallowed, call the toxin control center, and you should only be using the size of a pea. And I'm going, I drenched my toothbrush in toothpaste, and I know as a physician that what you put in your mouth is absorbed in your bloodstream. So it really got me thinking about these cleaning chemicals that we use, and so I'm just curious, what are some of the things that you've found as you've been on this journey that you use in the world of home products, whether it's dish detergents or laundry detergents or cleaning surfaces? I know that Young Living has a product line called Thieves. Maybe you could explain that to folks.
Sure. So you can see some Thieves products behind me, and these are all natural, non-toxic, plant-based products. Like Ian said, when you use these harsh chemicals in your home, they are doing the job that you want them to. They're getting rid of, all the yucky stuff that we want them to get rid of. But they're not just destroying those things, they're also destroying you in turn. And so, it doesn't necessarily, your laundry detergent, your soaps in your dishwasher, like you mentioned, they don't completely get washed away. They are actually created to stay on the plates. They're created to stay on the clothing because it gives the appearance of something being cleaner, smelling fresher, but it's all just the appearance of that. And we like that, we're used to that. I was dryer sheets were my thing. Growing up, people would come to my mom's house and say, I love how your mom's house smells. And it smelled like the laundry detergent and the dryer sheets that she would use. And so when I grew up, that's what I wanted my house to smell like, because I loved that people would compliment it. And so I, find the ones I love that smelled the best and make sure my house smelled that way. And to think what I was doing to us that whole time. But yeah, there are natural alternatives, and Thieves is a line that Young Living has. There is laundry detergent. There's foaming hand soaps for by your sink, which are really nice. There's fruit and veggie cleaner, toothpaste, mouthwash, whole house cleaner. And like I said, these are all non-toxic, chemical-free. When you think about the toxins that you're bringing into your home and what you're using in your body, for example, right now, all of us are trying so hard to keep this giant virus out of our home. And so you're working really hard. People are removing shoes outside, and they are washing their groceries before they put them in the fridge. And there's all these measures being taken to make sure that you don't bring this in your home. And it's the same care that you should put into watching what kind of toxins and chemicals that you bring into your home. Yeah. And these toxins and chemicals, they take just about 2 to 3 seconds to actually soak into your body when you use these products. And you're getting hit by them left and right. They're in your makeup, they're in your shampoos and conditioners, they're in your laundry detergents and soaps. They're everywhere. They are all over your house, and in every product that you are using. They're in your food and in your toilet paper. And so just being that gatekeeper to your home, and some of these you can't control, but the ones that you can control, it's a great place to start. There are around 84,000 chemicals that were introduced sort of in a whiplash type of way into our society like around the 50s. That's when these chemicals really started to come out. And then in the 70s, they created, oh gosh, my mind is going, but in the 70s, then they really, really started being used in all of these products. And what's interesting about it is these were all created by looking at plants. And so people kind of think, oh, plant-based, is that really going to clean? Is that really going to sanitize? Is it really going to disinfect? Is it really going to do what I need it to do? And, what scientists do is they study what's natural and they see what works. And then they recreate a molecule, which I think is amazing and just fantastic that society is able to do that, that we have people with brains that can recreate these molecules. But they recreate a molecule to copycat what they found in nature. And so, and then that's cheaper to make products with. It's faster to make products with. And so, of course, like, you know, companies and brands, and even we as people, you know, Amazon shipping 2 days and it's free. And that's what we want out of our products too. We don't want to have to wait to process a plant to get what we need. We just, you know, okay, you recreated a molecule, let's do it. I've got my product today. I can clean my house today. But our body does not assimilate with these synthetic molecules the same way it does with the ones that come naturally from a plant. There is, even though it's a copycat, there is a difference. And then we find ourselves with these chemicals that are stuck in us. And because they replicate so well what natural molecules from plants are doing, they can fit into the places where we want our natural chemicals to go and work for us and keep us above the wellness line. And so you find yourself, here's an example that I kind of use, you know, as you're using chemicals, they're soaking into your body, they don't metabolize out, they actually can stay in your system for years. There are chemicals in your body from when you were 11, from when you were 15 that have just never been able to find their way out. And they're clogging up all this space in your body where you want your natural chemicals to go and work for you. So the example that I use is, you know, a lot of us have trouble sleeping at night. We just can't fall asleep. Or when we fall asleep, we can't stay asleep. Or our mind is racing with all these things that we're worried about, anxieties, or what we have to do the next day. And so we say to ourselves, I want to go to sleep. And our body says, great, I have this natural chemical called melatonin, and I'm going to send it out, and it's going to fit into the right places, and you're going to fall asleep. It's going to be great. And so we close our eyes, and we get tucked under, and we get ready to fall asleep, and our melatonin starts going through our body to fit into the right places, the little keyholes where it needs to go to help us fall asleep. And when it gets there, a synthetic chemical that replicates it so well is sitting in that spot. But that synthetic chemical cannot do the same thing that that natural chemical can do. But the natural chemical gets there and says, oh, someone's already here. You don't need me. You're going to fall asleep. Someone's already here. And it doesn't do its job because it can't, because that hole was already filled. That little keyhole where it needed to go. I know I keep pointing to my chest. I'm not saying melatonin goes there. I'm just, but anyway, so this happens a lot with our hormones. These chemicals come in and they disrupt every system of our body, our endocrine system, which is so important for mental, you know, our mental health and our hormones and things.
Yeah.
They come in and they
powerful concept. Yeah, it's a really powerful concept. In chiropractic, I think a lot of wellness-minded folks come from a vitalistic perspective, which is that life is intelligent. And we'd go so far as to say infinitely so, you know? And if it's infinite and it's perfect, then anything that you add to or take away from perfection, you're inherently going to weaken, you know? And so where we may need some things and sometimes in our place in our life, as a whole, we should try and live as naturally as possible, I think. And I think it's a great thing. I think we probably, just knowing you and I, could probably talk about that forever. I think one of the things that I would maybe ask you is to give a couple of examples of a couple oils that you found, especially now that you're using. And then after that, maybe we'll talk about where people can learn more. I'll give one quick example. The first time I ever I got the starter kit with Young Living, and for the record, it's funny, we got into Young Living in two totally separate veins, you know what I mean? But now coming back together is kind of fun. Yeah. But I got at the time they had like this little home starter kit. I don't know if they still do or not, but I used lemon oil to clean my bathroom countertops and whatnot, because it's a citrus, you know, it cuts through stuff and whatnot. Yeah. And I'm just telling you, when I went back in later, or even when I was doing it, it just smelled like a lemon, like you stuck your nose in a lemon. It smells so good. And it doesn't smell like a fake knockoff. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think people would be surprised at the difference between the real scent and the fakey scent. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyhow, what have you found, one or two oils that you like to use when you're either cleaning or taking care of your home or your home products?
Okay. Well, yep. We, of course, again, we use all of these Thieves line of products, which are infused with essential oils, different oils like clove and cinnamon and lemon and our Thieves. So Ian's mentioned Thieves, we've been talking about Thieves this whole time, but this is an oil that, fun little story behind it, which will maybe help you guys out a little, is that the name for this came from a legend that so Gary Young, who is of course the founder of Young Living Oils, has been researching or had been researching oils for years and years and years before he ever put anything out there for those of us in the general public to use. And during his research, he had been in Europe and he had heard these legends about these brothers who were walking throughout the streets during the plagues, the bubonic plague, and all these very deadly and very easy to contract diseases. And so they were going around looting, but they weren't catching these diseases. They were able to do this without catching anything, and they were just building up their riches. And of course, when the government heard about it, they said, well, what are they doing? Bring them in. And if they tell us their secret, we'll give them a lesser punishment. And so they were brought in, and it turns out that their father was a perfumer, which in those times, around the 1500s, 1400s, during all these big things, a perfumer would have been someone who used oils and herbs and spices and things like that, and sort of made remedies for people, or cleaning products for people, or whatever. That was what they were at the time. And so anyway, they were sons of a perfumer, and they just happened to know that these certain herbs and spices were ones that supported immunity. And so they kind of concocted their own thing and went out and did their looting. So as he heard that legend, isn't that great? So when he heard that legend, he thought, well, I'm going to look into these herbs and spices and see what are the constituents in them, and are they really a support for the human body and for wellness. And so of course he looked into it and found that those oils were, and so he created the blend and called it Thieves, after these brothers who were around thieving.
I never actually knew that. I always kind of wondered where that name came from.
It's a really neat story, yeah. And so our family, we swipe our Thieves on every day. It's just something we do to support the immune system in our body. This is Young Living has these roll-ons, and we just roll it on just like that. That's all we need, and we're good to go. And of course, Thieves is then in all of these products that you see behind me. And another one, sorry?
I was just going to say, when you mentioned rolling it on your wrists there, I know an endocrine doc who does hormone replacement therapy and whatnot, and a lot of these hormone replacement therapies are creams that you just rub on the forearms.
So easy.
And it really shocked me, because it's almost like there's I don't know what the word is there, where we hear certain things, but we don't fully believe them. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, I know the skin's the largest organ in the body, and I could see where maybe it could get into the bloodstream, And then you realize that, no, modern medicine is using creams to go into your skin.
Yeah.
Like it does. Everything you put on your skin, you mentioned it earlier, makeups and cleaning agents and all the rest. But now here's something that's a natural that can do the same thing.
Exactly.
You could put it in your mouth and that way, but that's a harsh way to do it, because these chemicals these oils are very strong. I mean, they're very vaporous.
There's a whole Vitality line, which are oils created specifically for ingestion. If you want to, put it in your tongue or put it in your coffee, things like that. But if you're new to oils, I would say. Yeah,
no, it's much better. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you're gonna put it in your mouth, because they're very strong, very strong.
They're natural and they're potent, and but this Thieves smells like a bakery. So if you're wondering, you walk past someone who smells like a bakery, it might be Thieves. But
that's right. You had one more example that you were going to give. I think I cut you off there.
Yeah. And so lemon oil, Ian mentioned lemon oil, and that is another fantastic one. It's also a very inexpensive oil. I think some people kind of go, but I would love to try it, but I don't know. But lemon oil it's inexpensive and it is powerful. In fact, all the citrus oils are fantastic. They're great to clean with. They're fantastic for, I know in this time we're all feeling a little down, even if we're optimistic. It's sort of like I'm going to be optimistic.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the citrus oils like lemon and orange and grapefruit and bergamot, they help support our feelings of optimism and happiness and just in general feeling positive,
Yeah,
which
I
sounds a
agree.
little hokey, but they just kind of go in and they help support that endocrine system and those and our emotions. And
Yep,
so, even opening the bottle and just taking a smell, and you'll probably notice that you're feeling, you don't have to push
yep.
yourself to feel as happy or as good. And so not
And
only can
you,
you clean with them, but while you're cleaning, you can feel happy about it.
that's right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And you can even, I see you have a diffuser back there. We love to diffuse essential oils in the office. It creates just a very calming aroma.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing.
Great for
Kate, I'm
helping
gonna,
purify the air and yep.
absolutely, absolutely. How can people learn a little more? When I share this video, I'm sure I'll put some links, but just in general, if they're listening in the background, how do they get in contact with you? How do they learn more about integrating some products into their lifestyle?
Sure. Well, all of you are watching this on Facebook. So you can find The Oil Couch on Facebook, and that's a page where I just teach about essential oils. I teach about non-toxic options in your home. It's not a pressure thing. It's not to sell you anything. It's just an educational page. And I'll ask people to put some testimonies down in the comments too, so that you don't feel afraid to come visit us. But it's called The Oil Couch. So you can look that up, and yeah, we'll put a link in the comments too. You can also, Young Living has several different pages here on Facebook that you can visit. But yeah, we'd love to have you come sit on the oil couch with us and learn more about this.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time, Kate. Thanks for those that took the time to watch and learn through this. It's been, the silver lining and the blessing in this whole pandemic is that I think there is a little bit of, people are learning and growing as family units, and in some ways like this, as communities a little bit here, and it's kind of cool that way. So for those that took the time, we totally appreciate you and appreciate you taking the time. Please feel free to share the video with friends or family that you know are cleaning like crazy and may want to learn about some other products that may be a little bit less harsh or less toxic. Please do take Kate up on her offer and connect with her on the oil couch. As I do in the ACT interviews, Kate, I'm going to give you the last word. And just thanks again for being a part of it. But any last words for the community?
No, thank you guys. It's been great to hang out with you this morning. Thank you, Ian. And I just want to say that when we look to the healthcare system, it is fantastic. I thank you, doctors. Thank you, nurses. Thank you, everybody who is out there working so hard to get our communities all back to normal and to keep us well and to send people home from the hospitals. We appreciate you so much. I know there are a lot of you out there who actually use these products. And so shout out to all of you. And we just want to thank our medical communities so much. And also, you want to keep yourself out of there. We want to keep them from having to work so hard. And so these are just great ways to keep yourself above the wellness line and keep yourself from having to do what we sort of call sick care. It's our healthcare system, but really they take care of you when you're sick. And so this is a way to maybe keep yourself from needing that kind of care or as much of that kind of care. So,
Well said.
Just ways
well
to
said.
keep yourself. Yes. So, all right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Have a good day, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.